Don't want to block FuoliVer. Okay, so there we have Dirtyhands on the left, FuoliVer on the right. We haven't seen a single shaman this entire time. Looks like they're both coming out here. Both of them probably thinking that shaman's pretty weak. So just want to get to the finals and then, you know, just try to win there. I mean, it's a solid strategy, right? You figure that anyone who's putting out weak decks early on is probably going to lose. So you're probably going to have your weak decks versus the other winner's weak decks. We do have the Warlock for FuoliVer, so that's good for him. Warlock obviously being one of the stronger classes out there. And for Dirtyhands, Priest can be decent, Mage can be decent as well. So, but overall, I would say FuoliVer probably has advantage in the classes. Priest doesn't really counter Shaman as hard as it used to. Oh, was there a mistake? Looks like he conceded. There's a bunch of shaking. Yeah. Wait, what? Wait, why is... Wait, what? But he was playing a different class, it looked like. He was playing Hunter, but now he's playing Mage. I guess, are there cameras, are the viewpoints that far off? That's kind of bizarre. Wait, what? What just happened? This is really bizarre. Okay, well, I guess you can't see Dirtyhands' hand. It's gonna be a mad scientist. Still don't know what kind of deck this is. If it's anything other than Freeze Mage, though, then FuoliVer has an advantage. There's a message on the bottom about Dirtyhands, so I'm kind of confused now. Huh. Looks like they're having issues. I'm not sure if Dirtyhands is actually in the game. Alright, there we go. Okay, so we have Freeze Mage versus Handlock. FuoliVer doesn't know what it is yet, but he can maybe guess at this point, especially if you see the Acolyte come out here, or the Arcane Intellect for that matter. It's possible to have Mad Scientist and Arcane Intellect in the Freeze Mage, or sorry, in the non-Freeze Mage, but usually that's not the open that you see. Usually you see a bit more tempo-based opening. Play the Arcane Intellect later, unless that's really the only thing you have to do. So, yep, once seeing this Arcane Intellect, FuoliVer can more or less deduce that this is Freeze Mage. And he doesn't need to worry about, you know, killing this Mad Scientist and playing a big guy or anything like that. That said, his hand is pretty garbage. Yeah, he's just going to Hellfire here because there's nothing else to do. I mean, basically, might as well. It's either that or, like, tap into nothing. No, if he taps, then you have to play out your Sun Fury. So, yeah, better just, like, Hellfire here. You're going to take 2 damage from the Mad Scientist anyway if you tap and do nothing. So, just take 3 damage right now instead. We see the Novice Engineer in the hand of Dirtyhands, and that's something that a lot of Chinese players like to run. The advantage, obviously, is that you get to get the card right away. The disadvantage, obviously, is that it doesn't trade well with anything really at all. You just kind of leave it alone. Doing 1 damage is much less than doing 2 damage. It seems weird because it's only 1 less, but it is twice as much. So you can just more or less leave it alone when you're the opponent, and it doesn't really trade into anything at all. So yeah, you get the card right away, but I mean, for the reasons I just stated, typically Western players don't like playing. And we see a Frost Giant. Oh, that's interesting. So Frost Giant obviously can be useful in the Warlock, but or in Handlock, I should say, but you're not going to get it down nearly as quick as a Mountain Giant, and in cases when you're playing against a more aggressive deck, you're not even going to get it as fast as a Molten Giant. So Frost Giant is honestly kind of a late game, or like a card against control, because you're probably going to be tapping a lot against control, whereas against aggro, it's almost a dead card. Like it's probably harder to play than even a Mountain Giant in that matchup. That said, it's never going to be, you know, like 10 or 11 mana like the Mountain Giant will be. So in that sense, it can be okay. Dirtyhands gonna play out his Novice Engineer, and then play out his Ice Barrier. And he had to do this, or else he had to play at least one thing out of his hand, or else he's going to overdraw. I would be pretty surprised if he attacked him with his Acolyte right now. It can basically be used as a heal for 3 right in this instance against YMfuoliver. So YMfuoliver looks like he's not playing. He's playing a really defensive deck with the Refreshment Vendor. But it's not going to be very useful in this matchup because he doesn't want to be healing himself and his opponent at the same time. He wants to be healing himself only and not healing his opponent. Like in other matchups it'd be fine, but in this matchup he really needs to kill his opponent before he can actually do anything. So in any case, he's going to attack face here. No, I mean it's not really worth it to attack Acolyte in this situation. Especially because your opponent might run it anyway because he has too many cards in hand. On the side of Dirtyhands, he doesn't have a whole lot to do. He could fireball that guy, but it's not really worth it at the moment. You're only taking 4 damage anyway. It's much better to maybe fireball a giant or something after you've blizzarded it. Arcane Intellect really isn't an option here either. I guess he could Arcane Intellect into Frost Nova so he doesn't overdraw. He would go, he'd go to 10 cards and then go back to 9 if he did that. It looks like he's going to go for that, which means he's committing to using Frost Nova, which I don't really like that much. Frost Nova is one of the best cards in the game against pretty much any class. As the Freeze Mage, I should say. It's pretty much useless otherwise, but yeah. I like this a little better. Go for the Blizzard. It's much better to save your cheaper freeze. Most of the time Frost Nova is better than Blizzard. Because it's cheaper, so you want to save your better freeze for later. In any case, obviously we saw the Blizzard, and now we see the Dr. Boom from YMfuoliver. Nothing else he's going to play there at all. From Dirtyhands, we could see a ping onto the Acolyte. I think I'd rather see the ping on the Acolyte and then run the Acolyte in, rather than seeing the Arcane Intellect. Like, basically, if you Arcane Intellect now, you're committing to not getting full value out of your Acolyte anyway. So basically, you're drawing for 1 for 3 mana. When you could just draw the same amount by pinging your Acolyte and running it in. I don't really understand the point. Looks like he's gonna Frost Nova Ice Lance, which makes a bit of sense. I'd like to see him ping his Acolyte and run it in now though. Just to get more options, and then you'll be, yeah, this is much better because you get the full value out of your Acolyte anyway, and you're probably, oh, he's not gonna run it in. Okay, fine. I suppose he could run in later and maybe absorb a Boom, but Frost Giant can now come out after 2 taps. It's pretty expensive though. I guess in this situation it's better than a Molten Giant, however. But definitely YMfuoliver is in a solid spot. We do see the freeze coming out of Dirtyhands as well. Looks like he's hovering over that Flame Strike. I guess if you get rid of most of this board and leave just an 8/8, you're kind of okay. You're not taking that much damage. I mean, you leave an 8/8 and a 1/2, but basically leaving only an 8/8. What's he looking at? He's reaching for that Arcane Intellect, it looks like. If he Arcane Intellects, he can only freeze this turn. And yeah, it looks like he's reaching for that freeze. My W is quite a few seconds ahead. Well, most people aren't watching both streams, so you're gonna have to deal with it. Okay, so Dirtyhands is at 8 cards, which means that if YMfuoliver decided to damage both of those minions on the field, then he would overdraw. I'm not really sure how worth it that is, though. He could Shadow Flame a Boom bot, but Shadow Flame might be useful later for clearing out something like Doomsayer. So, not really the best idea to do that. He really has nothing to do, honestly. Plays with this Twilight Drake. Yeah, having seen both freezes, he knows that, both freezes that don't do any damage. Those being the Frost Novas, obviously. Oh, he's actually going to make his opponent overdraw. Makes a bit of sense, I suppose. Makes it so that okay, the Blizzard gets burned. Pretty bad discard on the side of Dirtyhands, or it's a bad card for Dirtyhands to discard. So good for FoolOver. One less freeze in the hand, or in the deck, I should say, of Dirtyhands. So FoolOver has already seen one Blizzard and two Frost Novas, so there's actually no freeze left unless there's a Kona Cold, and Kona Cold obviously does only 3 minions. So it's obviously a really good card for FoolOver to see. But yeah, putting that Twilight Drake makes a bit of sense, just because there's not going to be any non-damage freezes anymore. And if he's not freezing, then he could just get rid of his guys on his own to be able to play out something like a Refreshment Vendor anyway, or Draxus. So it makes a bit of sense. On the side of Dirtyhands, what can he do here? I mean, obviously there's two directions you can go as Freeze Mage. You can clear the board, or you can start freezing the board or clear the board, but he's not really freeze, obviously. Or you can start trying to burn your opponent, which you could do with Alexstrasza. It looks like he's going to go with that option. Nope, just kidding. Nope. Yeah, yes, he is. Okay. So he has the Fireball, Frostbolt, Ice Lance. He also has Antonidas in hand. So you could go for Antonidas, Frostbolt, Ice Lance next turn. And we see the only healing in the hand of FoolOver is that Refreshment Vendor. Well, Draxus as well. But yeah, kind of a tough spot for FoolOver here. Can he pop the block now? Dirtyhands at 31. How much damage is that? 15, 16, 17, 21, 28. And then, yeah, he can with Dark Bomb. Probably just going to go ahead and do that. It's really, I mean, the Alexstrasza is really no big deal, because there's obviously no... Oh, wait. Does he not have it? Am I crazy? Did I count wrong? 15, 19, 20, 21, 25. Oh yeah, I counted wrong. I'm an idiot. So he could Hellfire and try to get the Dark Bomb. Yeah, probably just Hellfire here, because popping this block is really important. But he needs to attack first. Yeah, he needs to attack first, then Hellfire, try to pop the block, and then Dark Bomb, and then Refreshment Vendor, I'm guessing. But he's getting really close to... Okay, so he needs a Dark Bomb now. Did he miss the Dark Bomb? He missed the Dark Bomb. Wow. Okay. Oh no, he couldn't Dark Bomb anyway because he healed his opponent. He needed a Dark Bomb first and then Refreshment Vendor. Okay, well that was kind of a fail. Anyway, after that, so Dirtyhands now has a ton of time because his opponent didn't pop the block, which is really nice. Probably go Antonidas, Frostbolt, Ice Lance here, and just get those fireballs in the hand. He might actually trade his Alexstrasza into the Sludge Belcher as well, just to get some damage off the field. Actually, I suppose we could see the... Yeah, we're going to see the Blood Mage... Oh, wait, I thought we were going to see Flame Strike for a second. Wait, is that lethal? It is lethal. Oh, my bad. Sorry about that. How much was he at? He was at 16. 7 plus... Oh, sorry, there's a mosquito flying around. The Fireball plus Frostbolt was 7 plus 4 is 11, plus the 5 is 16. Yeah, my bad. It was lethal. Oops. So yeah, Dirtyhands takes game number 1 against FoolOver and goes up 1-0. So I guess the whole fiasco with FoolOver didn't really matter. I guess the only thing he could have done there differently is just not make the play at all and go for the healing instead, or just the healing instead, I should say. But obviously it's risky to give the Freeze Mage opponent too much time, especially after he just Alexstrasa'd you. All right, so we're gonna go into game number 2, and it's going to be Shaman versus Priest, and looks like it's a normal mid-range Shaman, I'm guessing. I haven't seen any totem stuff. See a couple of feral spirits. Thorson doesn't really give much away. I guess it could be like a Malagos Shaman or something like that, like a Zeus Shaman, considering there's a Thorson in there. And we did see the Lightning Bolt as well. Nothing else is really getting... Oh, there we go. There we go. That answers that question. So it's going to be a Zeus Shaman against a Priest. And this is going to be really interesting to see if YMfuoliver can pull this off. Really interesting that he's bringing this deck into a tournament that is pretty important. Dirtyhands decides to pass instead of playing out his ooze. He knows that it can have value in the future. Also, I mean, as a priest, looks like it's a really old school priest with the Pyromancer and the Blade Master. Okay, so double elemental destruction makes sense in this kind of deck. You really just want to clear your opponent's board whenever you can, and or when your opponent gets too big of a board, and then be able to just Malygos him down. So he has a couple of those combo pieces, obviously, but just the Malygos is not going to really help him too much as far as getting things that are cheap in order to kill his opponent. So he's going to need more. He immediately totems a turn instead of hexing. I think a hex on that guy would actually be kind of worth it, because it's going to get bigger and bigger, and you're not going to be able to deal with it after a while. But looks like he doesn't think it's a threat. I mean, I guess the thing is, these days priests are playing bigger things like Palestress, and I mean, obviously Palestress isn't big herself, but she makes bigger things, like things that need to be hexed later. But oh, they see the healing wave and the crackle. So I mean, obviously none of these are actual surprises. It's just kind of interesting to see this. But I mean, once you see the Blade Master, like Blade Master isn't a card that you see in Priests much anymore. It's usually like the Death Lord. I mean, obviously you see Death Lord here, but it seems like much more an old school Priest because of the way it's set up with that Blade Master. So I think you can honestly predict that it's going to be one of the bigger minions, but I guess he doesn't really mind. He can eventually probably Elemental Destruction his opponent's board, but I don't know. In any case, gonna have the Pyromancer and the Shadow Madness just to clear up this board. It's getting pretty annoying, obviously, so pretty good way to deal with it, especially because he knows his opponent is way overloaded for this next turn. He's gonna like totem and that's it. Farsight is pretty interesting. I'm gonna actually coin Farsight instead of toteming. Kind of interesting play. That really sucks. Against the Earthshock, which does nothing right now. Yeah, obviously you don't want to be killing. Well, I guess you could want to kill the those Death Lords with the Earthshock, because maybe some of your minions you want to get the Battle Cry, or you don't want to get in the field yet. But I feel like those two minions would be Malygos and Thorson. You could play Thorson now, actually. That wouldn't. Well, you only have Double Crackle. Double Crackle's not going to kill your opponent. At most, it would do 24. No. At most, it would do 22. Well, 24 was spell damage. Spell damage, I mean, obviously, apart from the Malygos. So do you go for double element destruction and just overload yourself to hell this coming turn? Or do you wait one more turn? I mean, your opponent doesn't really need to. Your opponent could just heal his stuff and then just pass. So looks like he's going to go for the Thorson. Kind of weird, because he's not going to be able to kill his opponent. He's going to need more damage than that. And he's only going to be able to play Malygos plus Double Crackle. So I think this is a bit of a overreaction, honestly. So Dirtyhands, how do you deal with this? You don't really know what your opponent's doing. You saw him play Farsight and double Feral Spirit. That's pretty much it. You've seen double Feral Spirit, the card that draws cards, I forgot what it's called, like something knowledge, and then Farsight. So you're kind of confused at this point unless you know like specifically that it's the Zeus Shaman. So I mean, I suppose you could just Valens one of your guys and kill it. Okay, he might. Yeah, it looks like he's just gonna kill it normally with the guys in the field instead of committing anything. He's gonna draw cards last though, which is kind of sad. What does he pick up? He picks up Doomhammer. He picks up Doomhammer, and he picks up the card that draws cards. So pretty good spot for Dirtyhands right now. Let's see if YMfuoliver does go for that double elemental destruction. He could actually double elemental destruction and lava shock the face or something, or lava shock somewhere to make sure he's not overloaded at all, which is kind of crazy. But I mean, YMfuoliver is going to have to get some damage in at some point because he only has that, you know, maximum 22 damage out of those crackles with the Malagos, I mean. But yeah, is it worth it to double elemental destruction here is the question. Looks like he's just gonna go ahead and do one elemental destruction. Yeah, doesn't wanna get too overloaded this turn. Maybe just heal himself as well, and then save the second elemental destruction for next turn. Oh, wins with the Alex Shaza. Okay, so that's like, I guess that's one of the things he has in his deck to help him with the deal some damage before he goes with the Zeus. I obviously have to admit that I'm not completely familiar with all the cards in this deck, but Alex Shaza obviously makes sense. Thank you, Cyclops. Ancestral Knowledge. So, yeah, Ancestral Knowledge in the hands of Dirtyhands. Oh, he keeps throwing me off with that. Anyway, YMfuoliver not going with the Earth Shock, or sorry, the Lava Shock this turn, because he doesn't need to. He might even just totem and I'm surprised he didn't totem Elemental Destruction. Honestly, he could have just gotten more. He could have gotten the spell damage, but I don't know. Maybe he wants to totem on the field or something. Alright, Ancestral Knowledge coming out. Let's see what he can draw. Holy Nova is pretty good. I think I would have Holy Nova here to keep my guys healthy. Well, I guess Holy Nova is really good against Shaman, especially against their totems, but I mean, you obviously know that you're playing some really weird Shaman. Decides to heal the other one to get out of range of another Elemental Destruction. Another Healing Wave. He's gonna play the second Elemental Destruction, looks like. I wonder if he Earth Shocks it just to not get the Battlecry off of something like Alex. Okay, he rolls high on both, which means he gets the Alex and the Azure Drake. I don't think he wanted either of those, honestly. I think he wanted to draw more cards with the Azure, and he wanted the Alex to get the Battlecry off, so... yeah, it's gonna get Light Bombed, and all of a sudden YMfuoliver's in a really bad spot. I mean, he needed that Alex to do the damage, and I mean, I don't know what else is in his deck, but I really feel like he needed that Alex Shaza to do damage to his opponent. Okay, he has another Azure Drake, it looks like, but I mean, if his opponent just keeps clearing the board, I don't see how he's ever going to get back into this game. And if he plays the Doom Hammer, then it's going to get Ooze right away, so I don't know, I don't really see a way that YMfuoliver can win this game. I suppose what he could do is go Malagos, Crackle, and hope it stays in the field. And then maybe he has a couple more spell damage cards in his hand. And then he, you know, does some more damage the next turn. But, well, like, I was going to say it's wishful thinking, but I guess it's not that wishful thinking. Considering... Priest doesn't really have a way to deal with it, especially if Dirtyhands isn't running Mind Control. Although Dirtyhands, again, he's running a really old school version of Priest, other than that Valence Chosen, obviously. So I wouldn't be too surprised if he's running Mind Control in his deck. Alright, Cabal onto that. And just going to be putting more pressure on. YMfuoliver is going to have to find an answer soon. Or find a way to kill Dirtyhands soon, or else he's gonna die. Not really sure what he's thinking about. Whether to play the Ooze, I suppose. But I mean, he has the death. He knows that there's a Doom Hammer in the hand or in the deck of YMfuoliver. Unless he has like more Oozes or like a Harrison Jump in the deck. I highly doubt you play the Ooze right here. Wow, even Lightning Storm in this deck. Really interesting. So you're going to probably go for this Lightning Storm here. Just to take... Well, it's not going to kill anything with a 1-1. So I don't know what the point is really. And I think you have to wait for that Lava Shock to go face. Like, what are you really clearing here? I suppose you can guaranteed kill the Cabal with the Earth Shock. Yeah, you can do that. You can guarantee kill the Cabal with the Earth Shock. I guess that's kind of worth doing. You're going to take 4 damage off the field every single time. Yeah, it looks like he's gonna hex that. It's just too big to kill. And then probably Lightning Storm, and then Earthshock onto the Cabal. Oh, or just hit it, I suppose. Anyway, from the side of Dirty Hands, really not much to do. Maybe just play out this Pyromancer, heal himself. Well, he could play out the, well, no, I don't know. I'm kind of confused right now. I mean, both the Pyromancer and the Northshire Cleric are good for, you know, kind of desperation draw cards in a situation where, you know, his opponent has the Malygos in the field. He could just, you know, heal past his turn, I suppose. He does eventually need to start putting pressure on his opponent, because maybe YMfuoliver sets something up where his Malygos kills him. But, yeah, I mean, both players just need more cards at this moment. Dirtyhands is going to just elect to heal and pass here. Going back to YMfuoliver. This game is actually just tiring. I don't even know what's going on, honestly. Alright, Farsight, that's a good one to draw. Hopefully it's on another Earthshock. Lava Burst, that is a card. That is one of the best things. Maybe that's the best thing that you could have gotten this deck. I think the game's over, actually. I think he just won. I think YMfuoliver just won the game. Let's see, if he rolls low on the Crackles, that would be 8-16, and then the Lava Burst would be another 10, so 26. So he needs to roll, if Dirty Hands kills this totem, assuming he kills this totem, he needs to roll above average, but I think you still go for it, especially because it's not guaranteed you're gonna, oh, that's really bad, because now he can't actually heal anymore afterward, unless he kills off his own guy. Although this does make it a bit easier to kill off the Malygos potentially. But, wait, do you play the Azure Drake here just to kind of maybe hope it sticks? Or maybe your opponent kind of takes some damage clearing it off? Yeah, it's kind of tough. I mean, you could have lethal right here. Also, actually, it's pretty easy to have lethal because, like, yeah, you get 26 guaranteed. And you have your weapon in hand, so you have 28. So basically, you need to get really unlucky not to do it. You have to get low, yeah, he's gonna do it. I mean, it's like over 80% chance, I think. You need to roll low, like second lowest and lowest. Okay, that's gonna be enough. All right, that's gonna be enough by itself already. No, it's not. Wait, what am I talking? That's like the double low. Oh my god, I was like thinking about the other crit. My bad. He can roll double low. Oh my god. Just kidding. Just kidding. He rolled double low. I think you Earthshock this Wild Pyromancer. Yeah. Yeah, Earthshock the Wild Pyromancer, making it impossible for him to kill your Malygos. Oh my god, I can't remember double low. I said it's gonna be enough because I'm used to a crit being 8, but 8 was actually the lowest. I got totally confused there. Oh my god. I can't reroll double low. It's probably not gonna matter. I don't think he has a way to deal with it, but still. That was actually insane. So can he deal with this circle? And then he runs his Akanai in, and then that's 7 damage, and then he Holy Novas, and then that's not going to be enough, is it? He actually wishes he had Valence chosen right now, so he could Valence and Death Hit. Yeah, that's going to be game for YMfuoliver. I can't believe we rolled double low on that, and sorry for calling it wrong. Definitely wasn't going to be enough, because 8, it turns out, isn't the crit. It's actually the lowest when you have Malygos. Got confused for a second there. But yeah, Dirty Hands has no way to deal with this. He's actually... Well, from his point of view, he can get 2 off of lethal if his opponent doesn't have any damage in hand. But we know that YMfuoliver has the damage in hand. Yeah, probably going to... He's just going to concede? He actually had a way to get out of range. Okay, at least... I would at least tried. You could have Holy Nova and healed your face. Anyway, YMfuoliver's going to take it with the most bizarre game. Getting his Alexstrasza Death Lorded. And then farsighting the Lava Burst but then getting the one of the only outcomes in which he doesn't win the game, but then it doesn't matter because his opponent can't deal with the Malagos. That's actually so funny. So what are the chances of that happening? It's there are 4 outcomes each, right? So 4 times 16, and or 4 times 4 is 16, and there's 3 outcomes where you don't get it, right? So 8, 9, 9, 8, or 8, 8. So there was a 3 out of 16 chance. There's a 3 out of 16 chance that MengWang missed that lethal there. 13 out of 16. Never lucky. Anyway, I'm going to have the priest versus the handlock. The weird handlock with the frost giants. MengWang does have Jiraxis in this deck, which means it heavily favors him. As long as he has a way to deal with that Ysera, he has a huge advantage in this game. Really the only way that Dirtyhands wins, I think. Unless there's some other crazy stuff in this deck that I'm not aware of. There's really almost no way. I mean, it's so favored for the handlock. It's one of the most lopsided matchups in the game. It's like 80-20. Honestly, all you need to do is draw Jiraxis, and your opponent doesn't have enough damage to kill you. Dirtyhands actually healing MengWang because he never wants to ever see Moltens. But that just gives MengWang a lot of time to basically play out his hand, and he's never going to be under any pressure. So Dirtyhands basically just wants to go this to fatigue. This is why he's healing him. Anyway, we see Dirtyhands going for the really aggressive play after just recently healing his opponent. Kind of strange, honestly. MengWang almost certainly going to play out this giant. Oh, no, just kidding. He's going to play out the Drake. Although I think I would have liked the giant anyway. I mean, yes, it dies to death. I mean, Shadow or death, not just death in general, but I don't know. I think, does that mean I've made a mistake? I'm not really sure. Anyway, he's gonna probably Northshire and Circle here, I'm guessing. I don't really understand what's happening because he can't heal that guy out of range. I don't know if he thought that 2 + 2 was greater than 4 or something. He's only gonna draw 1 card off of this and get this to a 7/4, which still doesn't really kill the Twilight Drake. Okay then. Looks like he's gonna run it in. On the off chance there's a way to deal with it, which there was a BGH, and really no other BGH targets in the deck, so probably good to just go with that. Yeah, gonna kill that, gonna play out this Mountain Giant. Now he's gonna find out that his opponent actually doesn't have any deaths in hand. Ugh. Alright, so what does Dirtyhands do here? Honestly, I don't know, because it's really hard for Priest to win this matchup. And, well, he did pick up another Northshire, which is really nice. I mean, one way that Priest can win is if you get all of your answers. Like, you get both your deaths, and you make it just really hard for the handlock, and you just kind of, after you get rid of the early threats, you take board control, and you just constantly heal and clear, heal and clear, heal and clear, and handlock can't take control of the board, and, you know, once you play your Moltens out, it doesn't really matter, and you eventually just win the game through like attrition, basically. Anyway, second Mountain from MengWang is a very, very good draw. Gonna go ahead and play that Ancient Watcher because he wants to be able to tap in future turns. I mean, we do see that he has the Doctor Wind to play next turn, but if you don't play this Ancient Watcher out now, it's gonna be hard because you're not gonna be able to tap. Like, say for instance, he grabs an Emperor or Sylvanas a couple turns from now, then he's gonna want to tap in Sylvanas or tap an Emperor, do something like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with this. One thing that the Priest does have in its arsenal that didn't have in prior editions or in prior situations is that Light Bomb, but I imagine FullOver can just like pretty much play around it. And playing down this mountain giant was pretty much essential. I mean, obviously this is pretty weak to Light Bomb at the moment, but you don't... I mean, just the 8-4 by itself is just not strong enough, so it makes sense to play out this second mountain giant. Probably going to keep like 1 to like 2 at most big minions on the field for that reason. Doesn't want to get light bombed too badly. But as long as you can keep it under control, and the big thing really is the Duraxis, because you can just keep pumping out guys, and as long as FullOver can get to Duraxis, he should be able to win. With Light Bomb, Hemlock's not so favorite anymore. That's with Duraxis, that's not true at all, Hakila. So you basically just need to know how to play the matchup, honestly. As Handlock player, like people, and any Handlock who dies to Light Bomb is someone who just doesn't know how to play the matchup at all. You just don't overextend. Like the people who would die. The people who die to Light Bomb against Priest as Handlock are the same people who die to a Quality Consecrate as Paladin. Like, there's a way to win these matchups. You just need to know how to play them. In any case, that Akanai is kind of scary, so I imagine you just get rid of it and play the Dr. Boom here. I mean, obviously you're putting a lot of stuff on the board to get Light Bombed as well, but it is only like 1.5 minions again, so I think it's fine. Looks like he's instead just going to go for the Hellfire plus double coil. This does get rid of the Northshire Cleric, which is kind of important. Limit your opponent's card draw. It also gets you lower for this Molten Giant, so it makes a bit of sense. You want to get yourself as low as possible. And really weird play by Dirtyhands, honestly. He started off with healing his opponent, but then he started getting really aggressive. For instance, he could have healed his opponent with a Zombie Chow, but instead decided to... decided to damage his opponent, which is completely opposite what he's doing. Now he's playing another Zombie Chow on the field, which is going to heal his opponent back up again. Really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, honestly. And I'm probably going to see the Molten out of FullOver. I could play the Twilight Drake, but probably best to just be... Oh, that's really bad. You don't want to see Owl right there. Especially if he doesn't have any other way to deal with the Ysera, then that Owl is really, really bad to see right now. And one of the worst things you could have come off of that Death Lord. Alright, so the Light Bomb does come out. Sorry about the lag. Not really sure why that's happening. Looks like it's kind of unbearable, right? We're going to have to refresh here. Alright, looks better now. Alright, so there's a Light Bomb. One mountain down, but Dr. Boom's coming. So this is why Light Bomb's not so great in this matchup, because Priest just doesn't have a way to deal with multiple minions like this. Priest minions are skewed in the favor of health and not attack, so they don't have enough power to just deal with the minions of something like Handlock. And he obviously was able to kill off the Molten and the Mountain right there, but it's more or less inconsequential because FullOver just goes ahead and plays out Dr. Boom. He still has the Twilight Drake and the Frost Giant in hand, so this is exactly why this matchup is bad. One thing that Dirtyhands can do potentially is play the Ysera here, but I mean, I think FullOver is perfectly fine with running the Dr. Boom in and Shadow Flaming it, just to get rid of basically the one thing that you can't really deal with on the side of Dirtyhands. All right, just gonna death here and take away this this Boom Bot. And what are we going to see here? He's reaching for the Hellfire, but doesn't really do much at all. This is why I was a little bit concerned with him using the Hellfire earlier, because it can be useful against Priests, honestly. Especially against things like those Wild Pyromancers or Northshire Clerics. I guess he already saw 2 of those, so... Looks like he's going to go with the Hellfire, clear off 2 of these guys, and play out his Thaurissan, which directly contests this Cabal Shadow Priest. Obviously, Priest doesn't have any health. How did Priest get to 14 health, by the way? That's kind of weird. So yeah, it's going to use this Thought Steal to do 1 damage, which is one of the best things he could do in this situation, was he picks up a Dark Bomb and a Sun Fury Protector. Not what you want to see at all. Probably the best thing left in FullOver's hand, or FullOver's deck, that Dirtyhands could have gotten was the Duraxis. In fact, if you got the Duraxis, it would have been a pretty even matchup, but as it stands, it's still pretty heavily in FullOver's favor. So from FullOver, I imagine we're going to see something like tap into Frost Giant into Refreshment Vendor, I'm guessing. You can also play the Loatheb, and the looks like she's going to go for this. Alright, this is fine. Just to keep himself healthy. There is 5 damage on the board. Maybe Dirtyhands has some sort of like a little bit of damage in hand, especially after picking up. I mean, like he could Valence Chosen and Dark Bomb, which would have been kind of close, would have been kind of scary. So perfectly fine for FullOver to do this, especially because he has 2 more taunts in hand. He also has 2 refreshment vendors that he can use at any time. Not really sure if he's going to do that now, but in any case, Dirtyhands in a really horrible position, honestly. Not a whole lot he can do. I guess with the Valence Chosen, the Pyromancer goes up to, or hurts everything obviously for 1, and he goes up to, okay, he's going to put on the Sun Fury Protector, let's see, and then now the Dark Bomb does 4, which clears out 1 minion. Okay, clears out 1 minion, but doesn't really do a whole lot else. He really wished he had saved his Cabal now, because he could have Shrinkmeister Cabal that Twilight Drake, and that would have been a huge play. So a little bit of a lack of patience there by Dirtyhands. Could have been a really nice play by Shrinkmeister Cabaling that Twilight Drake. Really impatient play by him, honestly, by going with the Cabal onto the Boombot. And now FullOver's put a lot of pressure on that that Loatheb's going to lock out a lot of damage or a lot of spell potential by Dirtyhands. He can clear out this Sludge Belcher to prevent himself from dying. I mean, there's only 11 damage on board, so he could, no, 12 is, oh, oops, I can't do math. 12. So there's 12. So if he heals himself, he just dies. So yeah, he needs to go for this Holy Nova, unfortunately, for 10 mana. And yeah, he's able to kill that off, obviously, but he's just gonna concede. I don't understand these plays. Like, I guess he just doesn't want to show the rest of his deck or something. But that's the second game we've seen Dirtyhands just concede when he wasn't actually dead on board. And we saw in FullOver's hand that he actually didn't have any way to deal any damage. So really just bizarre by Dirtyhands, honestly. Obviously it's a bit unfortunate that he had the Priest go against the Handlock. But I mean, you might as well play it out. It's only a few more turns so it's over anyway, especially since you're in that dire position. Alright, so in any case, FullOver is up 2-1. He's left with his Hunter. I forgot what kind of hunt. I don't think we've seen this Hunter, actually. Have we? Yeah, I don't believe we've seen his Hunter yet. So Hunter versus Priest and Hunter versus Shaman. Dirtyhands definitely has the ability to get back into this game. With the Knife Juggler, Snakes, and Animal Companion and Unleashed, this could actually be any Hunter still. Most likely going to be mid-range, but we occasionally do see Snakes in Face Hunter just to kind of throw the opponent off. See the Flare there, which is going to be completely useless for the rest of this series for FullOver. So, yeah. Okay, Ram Wrangler means it is going to be the mid-range. Wonder if he's going to coin out a 2-drop. I think I would, just because you have 2, 2, 3, and you have 4 draws into a 3 or 4 drop, or even a 2-drop. You go with 2 and Hero Power. So I think it's pretty reasonable. I mean, you even have the Flare in hand. Like, worst case scenario, you go Flare plus Hero Power on turn 4 and you cycle. So yeah, I think I would definitely go for the aggression here. Don't give your opponent too much time. Just put in the aggression right now. And you definitely go with the Knife Juggler. I mean, unlikely that Dirtyhands has Shadow Word Pain in his deck. I want to get the damage in right now. Gonna go for the Haunted Creeper. I don't really like this at all, honestly, because what he could, your opponent could play, Northshire Cleric. Although I guess he would have already if he had it, but I just value the damage. I mean, honestly, you're getting an extra 3 damage off of the Knife's Juggler because you get the knife and the extra 2 damage as well. So that could make the difference. Obviously, Dirty Hands has nothing to do here. It's just going to pass. But he does have that Death Lore, which is going to be a big deal coming up. Houndmaster is a good draw. I'm going to be able to curve, well, pretty well. Go into that Animal Companion, into the Houndmaster, into the Ram Wrangler if the beasts survive. Which they probably will. At least one of them. Alright, so what do you want to see here? Huffer clears this. Leok doesn't. If he hit the knife, it would have been 7 and then 6-5. He could have cleared it if all the knives hit. No, if 2 of the knives hit. Actually, you could still clear it then, right? Hits it and then goes to 6. If he hits 2 knives in a row, it dies. But probably not worth. Well, he could just go for it now because Dirty Hands is probably going to kill off this Knife Juggler right now. And then you're not going to get value out of the knives. And unless you see something like a Wild Pyromancer plus a spell, you're not going to get punished. Your 2 1/1s are going to be able to do some damage. So I think I would like to see him trade in this beast. The only problem with that, I suppose, is that you might lose stuff. You might not be able to Houndmaster later, or Houndmaster slash Ram Wrangler later. But I do like this. Gamble by him. I probably wouldn't attack with the Knife Juggler though. It gives your opponent more the ability to attack into different things. Shrinkmeister is okay here. You can Shrinkmeister onto one of these guys, probably a Knife Juggler, and then attack in, only take 2 damage, and then circle. Yeah, that's probably the play here. Also, you get a minion onto the board as well, and then you're back in full health. Everything's great. YMfuoliver is, however, going to be able to clear this with his Houndmaster. I'm going to get the requisite 8 damage on. Let's see what he gets out of this Death Lord. The order doesn't matter here since his Leok's not going to die. What does he get? He gets a Hyena. He has a Hyena in this deck? Huh. Well, I was going to say top deck Holy Nova is going to be huge here. And you absolutely do that here. Because the Hyena could get really, really huge. You kill off the Hyena and the Leok. It's pretty huge. You're leaving a 4-1, but that's fine. I don't see any of the play. He could maybe get really greedy and save it and just leave everything on the board and save it for a Light Bomb, but you're taking so much damage. You're taking a guaranteed 12 damage. I don't think you want to be doing that. You're basically taking 8 damage off the board by Holy Nova in here. And he's reaching for the Thought Steal. Please, just Holy Nova. Just Holy Nova. Just do it. I mean, would you rather... I mean, 5 mana heal for 8 and clear 2 minions is pretty good. Actually, heal for 10, honestly, because you get to heal yourself as well. So, heal for 10. 5 mana heal for 10, clear 2 minions is pretty good, I would say. That's his only play, honestly. Unless he's really, really greedy, and yeah, definitely have to go with this. And YMfuoliver is very, very sad now because he doesn't get to Ramlinger. Probably going to be Web Spinner or Flare and Web Spinner into Hero Power. One of the saddest turns you will see when you have a Ramlinger in hand and 2 of your beasts have just gotten cleared. Jaime is nice though, but yeah, it's probably going to play at this. Well, Web Spinner could get stolen, I suppose, so maybe you don't play it. Yeah, he's going to hold on to it. He might go Web Spinner Ramlinger the next turn, and then Jaime the turn after that. Or, if his opponent doesn't do anything, maybe just play the Jaime and play the Ramlinger after that. A lot of times you want to guarantee the Ramlinger value, and you can just get the Jaime later anyway, but in this case, it's just fine to get the Jaime out there and get the pressure on. You've already seen Holy Nova, so you're not going to get Death Holy Nova'd. Well, obviously he doesn't have the mana to do that as well. On the side of Dirty Hands, you see he picked up the bow and the Hyena there. I'm kind of sad that he used the Thought Steal that he just picked up. I would have liked to see him Thought Steal off the left side because he was hovering over that card earlier. And so that kind of, like now if YMfuoliver knows that you have a 5 or less mana card that you could have played that turn, so it could be something like Thought Steal. Little things, but I think it matters. So yeah. Anyway, this is pretty standard. Just gonna weapon, clear that off. And probably, yeah, we're going to see the Hymen here. unfortunately, it's going to get death and then killed by one of the, or by the bow charge. Unless we see something better. Yeah, it's going to get death and, oh, it doesn't have enough mana for death and Cabal, but he can just Hyena here. Put some board control, or get some board control, not board control, but contest the board a bit here. And heal himself. So Priest is looking pretty good unless we get a really good Ram Wrangler turn right now. Double Hyena. That is so bizarre. Honestly, that's really bizarre. Alright, see what this Ram Wrangler goes with. Oh, the Beast. Okay. He's shaking his head like he's sad about that, but it's actually pretty good. Although, that said, this is almost certainly gonna get light bombed, yeah. So it's gonna provide a 3/3 for his opponent. Yeah, I take it back. Light bomb incoming. Gonna take this all out and give himself a 3/3. There's not gonna be a better light bomb than this, yeah. So gonna throw that light bomb out there. Grab that Finkel Einhorn, I think his name is called again. Einhorn Finkel Finkelhorn. Finkel Einhorn. In any case, Priest is way ahead. At this point as the mid-range hunter. I mean, obviously it's not exactly like Face Hunter, where you need to get a lot of damage in, but at some point you need to be getting the damage in, or else Priest is just gonna value, especially with the all the ways that it can pick apart your stuff. But yeah, probably gonna cabal this, heal face. I guess he just holds onto the Northshire Cleric. No real reason to play it. Just gonna give him more value for at least the Hounds, and I wouldn't be surprised if YMfuoliver just concedes here. This game is almost certainly over, and by continuing to play, he's giving his opponent more information about his deck. Like for instance, playing this Hunter's Mark here is going to tell his opponent that he plays Hunter's Mark. I mean, obviously most mid-range decks do, but some don't. So yeah, I think this is just giving your opponent too much information. I suppose if he leaves a board like this, though, it can proc the snakes, and maybe your opponent has no way to deal with it. But even then, you only have, what, 6 or even 5 damage? Yeah, just 5 damage on the board because one of these is going to get taken out, so it doesn't really matter too much. This also gives Dirtyhands more information in the next game, because I don't think he's going to lose this game, honestly. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, just even with no AoE, he's going to take that, going to get the Croc in the field. He has way more power on the board. And YMfuoliver's not going to close out this game with 3 snakes. But Ram Wrangler, Ram Wrangler can do some stuff. Can Ram Wrangler win the game? 11 plus 5 is 16, 18. Even if he got King Crush, he would be 1 off lethal, but it would be a big step toward having that lethal. He gets Lost Tall Strider. Decent, pretty good value. If the card text on Ram Wrangler were always someone lost Tall Strider, I think it would definitely be played. But yeah, I don't really see the point of continuing this from YMfuoliver's side, honestly. I mean, I guess he does have the board lead, I suppose, but he has no cards in hand, like literally nothing. And I can't see a situation in which I can't see a situation in which Dirtyhands doesn't have an answer for what's on board. I mean, he has 2 answers for this Tall Strider right now. He can either Valence and kill it, or he can Vol'jin and kill it. He also has Thoughtsteal potentially. He can draw a bunch more cards with the Northshire Cleric. So yeah, probably just gonna see that, do that, Northshire, maybe probably Circle here. He can even like heal after the Circle if he wants to get even more cards. Thoughtsteal. Once he gets a Thoughtsteal, gets Kill Command and Snakes. Kill Command onto the Ram Wrangler. You have no board left, YMfuoliver. 6-minute Kill Command. Yeah, time to concede. Don't want to give any more information away, especially with that mad scientist. Don't want to give give away what the secrets are. And we have a tied series. It's 2-2. YMfuoliver with his Hunter remaining, Dirtyhands with his Shaman remaining. We haven't seen the Shaman. Will we see a Zeus Shaman again? That would be very interesting if both players brought Zeus Shaman. In any case, I need to drink the rest of this water because my voice is getting, or my throat's getting so dry. You guys can watch them all again. Wait, what? Oh, okay, picked the wrong deck. I wonder if he's gonna get punished for that. Probably not, because it's not like he did with any ill intent. It's like impossible to have any ill intent in there because he knows what Dirtyhand's gonna pick. Alright, here we go. So, this is a matchup that Shaman, assuming he's playing mid-range Shaman, typically wins because you can kind of neutralize the threats from the mid-range Hunter, like the high main, you can just hex it. But, that said, a good start by the mid-range Hunter like this is an excellent start. This is probably the best start you can hope for. Can take down the Shaman. So, especially with that start with the Shaman. Ooh, that's dirty. He's looking at that Urshock, but there's plenty more things to Urshock in the Hunter's deck. And particularly those Mad Scientists. On the other hand, it is mana efficient. You get to use all your mana turn 1, you get to totem on turn 2, and then you get to do like your mana totem on turn 3 or something like that. So, it kind of makes sense. Just get the guy out the field. Don't take the little chip damage every single turn, but YMfuoliver is probably fine with that. It's going to play out this Mad Scientist, get some damage in that way. And can Dirtyhands pick up a 2-drop? He picks up a Rock Biter. Might want to use it. Not really sure what I would do in this spot. Yeah, probably just play out that Totem. I mean, Totem here is heal for 2, essentially, because that Scientist is probably attacking into it. Yep, there you go. It's really kind of it's kind of bad to leave too many totems up because you can totem hop with Flame Tongue later and clear your board, and it just limits the options so much, especially for Totem Shaman. So YMfuoliver with the lead here, but his hand is pretty garbage. I mean, his opening hand was excellent, but since then he's gotten second Mad Scientist, which you don't really need, as well as Snake Trap, which is, he might not have 3 traps in his deck, and Hunter's Mark, which is pretty garbage early on as well. So, alright, Shredder coming out from Dirtyhands. I wonder if YMfuoliver, is going to trade here. It looks like he is. Yeah, so it gets a really good one off of the Pilot Shredder. He's able to kill off with this Leok without his Leok dying. And on the side of Dirtyhands, ooh, that's a Bloodlust. Okay, I don't really see the need for Bloodlust if you have the Thunderbuff Valiant, honestly, because the Thunderbuff Valiant by itself is really kind of clunky sometimes. In any case, he's going to clear out this Leok because you kind of have to, because of the threat of both the Houndmaster and the Ram Wrangler. Double Snake Trap, that's pretty surprising. At least he's going to kill out the Leok, so he's only adding 1 damage to the board, and he's revealing that trap right now. But this does allow YMfuoliver to get the Ram Wrangler. I guess that's probably why he runs a double Snake Trap, to make it more likely that he'll be able to get that. But it's really, ooh, Mookless Champion can be really good. It's like a Thunderbolt Valiant, but for everything. Dirtyhands needs to kill it right now, but I don't think he can. This is looking really good for YMfuoliver. Like, he actually, yeah, he can't even deal with it. Oh my god, this hero power coming from YMfuoliver. That was like probably the best one other than like King Crush, honestly. Because, or like a High Main or something like that. Because, like, otherwise, like, the whole point is YMfuoliver's hand is actually just garbage. His hand is actually really bad. And it basically turned his hero power into something that's like way stronger than it is. Look at that. Oh my god, so many bananas. Just go face. Although, he is pretty weak to Lightning Storm, I suppose. So maybe start clearing off some of this board. But yeah, we know that Dirtyhands doesn't have any Lightning Storm. I mean, YMfuoliver can reasonably conclude that there's no Lightning Storm. I think from here you just go face. Yeah, you're just emitting too much damage if you clear anything else here. Yeah. I think you just go face here, because you know he doesn't have Lightning Storm, unless he top decks it right now. I guess it's something you can play around, but even if he top decks it, how much healing is there really in this Shaman? This Shaman wins by controlling the early game with his totems and stuff like that, right? It's not going to have much healing. So, yeah, just go all face here. I mean, he could have even gone the Mad Scientist and the other Snake into the face and gotten on to 5, which I think he probably should have calculated how much damage that was, honestly, because I mean, down to 5, how do you come back from that Shaman? How do you win in 3 turns as Shaman, honestly? And you also have the Unleash the Hounds in your hand. So, unless your opponent has like a big board with taunts as well, it's not going to be likely to come back. In any case, Dirtyhands has no way to come back from this. Looks like he's going to concede. And, yeah, YMfuoliver is going to take it on the back of Moogless Champion. Moogless Champion's so ridiculously good here. Oh my god. Like, honestly, other than King Crush, is actually better than Hyman here. That was so insane. It's like the best Moogless champion you'll ever see. So there you have it, Ram Wrangler OP, guys. Summons Moogless champion whenever you have a billion guys in the field. That's the rule. And YMfuoliver is going to take it. He is your week 4 Celestial Championship Series champion, which means he's going on to the final invitational to face guys such as Firebat, Kolento.